the news tonight, the Prime Minister orders an investigation into an alleged blasphemous social media post by a local writer vowing firm application of the law on those who make practices that are alien to society. US-backed forces seize full control of the northern Syrian city of Manbij and people pour onto the streets enjoying basic rights they had been denied for 2 years. And Donald Trump backs away from comments calling the US President and Hillary Clinton as the founders of Daesh, following criticism from his own Republican Party and celebrities, the most recent being Robert De Niro. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Here are the details. Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki ordered late yesterday an investigation into an alleged blasphemous social media post by a local writer. The Prime Minister instructed the Interior Minister to investigate the issue before taking further legal action. Al-Mulki vowed firm application of the law on those who make practices that are alien to our society, stressing that freedom of expression is guaranteed but in accordance with the law and constitution. Today, Amman Governor Khalid Abu Zaid called columnist Nahid Hattar to his office to investigate reports that he shared a post on his Facebook page which was deemed as blasphemous. The governor ordered Hattar remanded in custody after the investigation conducted in the presence of his lawyer, and he will be referred to judicial authorities. Meanwhile, the Central Ifta Department issued a statement condemning the blasphemous post and called for taking a firm action against it. It also urged Muslims to highlight the bright and tolerant image of Islam and reject violence and terrorism. The department called for imposing stiffer penalties against those who harm religions and refrain from inciting sectarian sedition. Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki discussed with Egyptian Transport Minister Jalal Saeed ways to ensure the smooth movement of passengers and goods and enhance trade between the two countries. Mulki stressed the need to find solutions to the sticking points in the transport sectors in the next few days so that the Higher Jordanian-Egyptian Committee, holding a meeting in Cairo later this month, can agree new scopes for cooperation. He called for prompt solutions to transport hurdles after ministers from the two countries agreed last week to settle a number of sticking points, such as the registration of Jordanian companies and pharmaceutical items in Egypt, as well as new facilities to Egyptian labor in Jordan. Mulki and the Egyptian minister also agreed to promptly address specific matters, including agreement on designating one point to search ferries transporting people and goods via the two countries' ports to ensure smooth and free trade. Minister of Transport Yahya al-Kasabi said the Jordanian and Egyptian governments are working closely to advance trade exchange and facilitate freight and passenger movement through ports in both countries. This came after talks al-Kasabi held with his Egyptian counterpart Jalal Saeed and a representative of the Iraqi transport minister that focused on transport and ways of upgrading cooperation in this domain. Speaking at a joint press conference with Saeed, al-Kasabi said the talks also tackled means of increasing the two-way trade exchange through cutting the time freight check measure needs. The Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army dismissed as completely untrue reports that the border guard had denied entry to a sick Syrian child from a border refugee camp for treatment in the kingdom. A source at the Armed Forces General Headquarters said that the border guard had not been requested to allow the child from Al-Rukban refugee camp on the northeastern border with Syria to cross into Jordan. The source added that the Jordan Armed Forces had provided free medical assistance to hundreds of thousands of Syrian brothers and had not hesitated at any time to offer medical service to those in need anywhere. It reiterated that the kingdom's northern border will remain a closed military zone and vowed that no one will be allowed to approach the frontier without prior coordination. Residents in the northern Syrian city of Manbij have been celebrating new freedoms after being liberated from the control of Daesh terrorist group. They have poured into the streets enjoying basic rights they had been denied for 2 years. including men shaving off their beards and smoking, and women walking with their faces uncovered. US-backed Kurdish and Arab fighters have been fighting since the end of May to drive Daesh out of Manbij, close to the Turkish border. Captured by the terrorist group in 2014, Manbij has served as a key transit point for foreign fighters and the trafficking of stolen goods. Here's more.
Elation in Manbij, one day after US-backed forces seized full control of the city from Islamic State. The last remaining IS fighters here were using civilians as human shields. Some 2,000 people held hostage by the militants have been freed, the ordeal still weighing on many. Manbij was largely fought by these men, the Syria Democratic Forces, or SDF, which includes some women and is an alliance of Kurdish and Arab fighters.
May God salute you. You are our children. You are our heroes. You are the blood of our hearts. You are our eyes. Go out, Islamic State.
Helping the SDF, U.S. Special Forces, which played a critical role on the ground. It was, in fact, the most ambitious advance in Syria by a group allied to Washington since the U.S. first launched its military campaign against IS 2 years ago. The SDF are now sweeping the city. U.S. officials say once the Manbij operation is complete, conditions will be right to move on to Islamic State's de facto capital, Raqqa. Washington expects a tough battle ahead.
A man armed with a knife and flammable fluid set fire to a train in northeastern Switzerland, leaving 6 people in hospital with stab wounds and burns, some said to be in serious condition. Among the injured is a 6-year-old child. A police statement described the assailant as a 27-year-old Swiss citizen who it said was also taken to hospital. The police spokesman said the authorities did not yet know the motive behind the attack, saying it could possibly be a crime of passion and that terrorism still seems very far-fetched. The attack occurred near Sales in St. Gallen canton, close to Liechtenstein. It was the first attack of its kind in Switzerland in recent memory. U.S. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump backed away from comments calling President Barack Obama and his Democratic rival Hillary Clinton the founders of Daesh. Speaking at a rally in Altoona and Erie in Pennsylvania, Trump said his remarks on Obama and Clinton had been sarcastic. He went on to blame the media for blowing out of proportion what had been a sarcastic comment. A Wall Street Journal NBC News Marist poll released yesterday suggested Trump losing ground in 3 battleground states. The poll found Clinton widening her lead in Colorado, Virginia, and North Carolina, while holding her advantage in Florida. In recent weeks, a steady stream of moderate Republicans have vowed not to support Trump, while 50 Republican national security experts signed a letter opposing him. It was not just Republicans criticizing Donald Trump. U.S. actor Robert De Niro has become the latest celebrity to speak against Trump, who he said should not run for president because he was totally nuts. De Niro, who was speaking in Sarajevo at an event marking the 40th anniversary of Taxi Driver, the Martin Scorsese film in which he starred, described what Trump has been saying as ridiculous and his nomination by the Republican Party as crazy.
Crazy that people like Donald Trump, who are totally shouldn't even be where he is. So God help us. Though I think people are now, and I don't want to get off on this, but I think people now are starting to really push back the media. They've given them all this attention, and finally they're starting to say, come on, Donald, this is ridiculous, this is nuts, this is insane. Because what he's been saying is really totally crazy, ridiculous stuff that he shouldn't be even,
yeah,
nuts, totally nuts.
You see it in the story of
Back to the U.S., where torrential downpours in parts of Louisiana and Mississippi in the South caused flooding that killed at least 2 and forced residents to evacuate homes throughout the region. Near the capital of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, rivers were rising quickly and authorities expected more evacuations to be carried out. A state of emergency was declared in Louisiana as pounding rain forced the closure of schools, government offices and many roads. The severe weather comes 5 months after flooding in Louisiana and Mississippi that left thousands of homes damaged.
Really hoping this would be like a chill Friday, maybe get off early.
A state of emergency was also declared in the East Coast, but because of high temperatures. Temperatures reached the 30s Celsius and humidity was high, with New Yorkers finding ways to cool down. People were encouraged to stay inside and limit their exposure to the sun. New York City Mayor also encouraged residents to keep air conditioning temperatures at medium degrees due to concerns of power outages or, even worse, a blackout. Usain Bolt is on course for his third consecutive 100-meter gold medal after easing his way through in the heats. The Jamaican jogged to a time of 10.07 seconds to the huge roars around the Olympic arena as he breezed his way past the rest and even had a cheeky look over his shoulder twice. Bolt is aiming high in what he said will be his final Olympics, bidding to continue his streak of gold in the men's 100 meters, 200 meters and 4x100 meters relay, the unprecedented triple-triple. Lionel Messi announced that he wants to return to play for Argentina, reversing his decision in June to retire from international soccer. The Barcelona forward had said he would not play for Argentina again after the team lost to Chile in the final of the Copa America in the United States. In a statement, Messi said he wished to continue playing for his country as he preferred to help from within, as he put it. The timing of Messi's return comes as Argentina seeks qualification for Russia's 2018 World Cup. Argentina are third in the 10-nation South American qualifying group with 11 points from 6 matches, 2 behind Uruguay and Ecuador. The news was well received in the streets of Buenos Aires. And finally, moderate conditions continue across most regions for the rest of tonight with northwesterly moderate winds. A slight drop in temperature is expected tomorrow, though it remains hot across the kingdom. Winds will be northwesterly moderate to brisk, blowing dust in the desert areas. The Gulf of Aqaba should definitely expect hotter conditions, while winds will be northerly moderate and the seas slightly high. Here now, let's look at temperatures forecast for tonight at tomorrow. And to close, here's a reminder of the day's top stories. The Prime Minister orders an investigation into an alleged blasphemous social media post by a local writer, vowing firm application of the law on those who make practices that are alien to society. US-backed forces seize full control of the northern Syrian city of Manbij, and people pour onto the streets enjoying basic rights they had been denied for 2 years. And Donald Trump backs away from comments calling the U.S. President and Hillary Clinton as the founders of Daesh, following criticism from his own Republican Party and celebrities, the most recent being Robert De Niro. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Aya Khan. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.